Kyle, here's all you need to know in order to get a software engineering job at LinkedIn.
I sat down with LinkedIn software engineer Marcos Rico, and he shared his tips to becoming a software engineer at a top tech company. Marcos started working at LinkedIn following graduating from UC Berkeley, where I had the pleasure of swimming with him on the men's swim team. Since graduating, he's moved across the US to New York City, where he works at LinkedIn's Empire State Building office. What most people might not know about Marcos is that not only is he a world-class software engineer, but he's also an aspiring YouTuber where he talks about software engineering and much more. And without further ado, here's LinkedIn's very own Marcos Rico.
What's up? Long time no see.
Long time no see.
Thanks for doing this, dude. I just wanted to kind of share with my audience a little bit more about what you do. Just wanted to dive right in. You and I both know each other very well from our time swimming at Cal, but for everyone who doesn't know you, could you introduce yourself, share a little bit about yourself, and talk about what your role is at LinkedIn?
Yeah, of course. So hey, Kyle Millis channel members. I am Marcos Rico. I swam with Kyle in college on the common swimming team, but now I am a software engineer at LinkedIn. Specifically, I'm a back-end systems and infrastructure engineer. I started in August. I've been here for like over 6 months and here to talk about it today with you guys.
Could you talk to me a little bit about how you got this role? Like, did you have any background in software engineering or any previous roles / internships that help you land this role?
I actually interned for LinkedIn last summer, in summer 2021. Prior to that, I had no software engineering experience. I actually went into college with no programming experience at all. So I didn't code at all in high school or anything. I learned all my coding in college and all the CS classes there. I applied to a bajillion internships, managed to somehow secure the LinkedIn one. I did well there, and they gave me what we call a return offer. So after the internship ends, I basically signed an offer to go there full time for the next following year when I graduate, and that's how I ended up here.
Could you talk to me a little bit about how you got that internship, I guess?
Yeah.
What was the recruiting process like to get on LinkedIn?
I guess the process for me at LinkedIn and in general might be a bit different. For me at LinkedIn, actually, a recruiter from LinkedIn reached out on LinkedIn asking whether I wanted to apply to a LinkedIn internship. So that was really cool. It looks like the LinkedIn platform actually served a purpose. But for the most part, what we do is basically you just mass apply to a bajillion tech companies. You just apply for everything. I mean, there's like it's a game of luck sometimes. I mean, it can be skill obviously, but sometimes it's just like whether you have the right keywords in resume screening. But essentially, like once you apply, if you guys like pass what they call the resume screening, so the first thing you normally get is a coding assessment. So they send you a link. You have to solve a few coding questions. This is no person. It's just like online. You have like an hour to do it. So solve a couple questions, submit that, and then that goes away. And then if you hear back, the recruiter will reach back out, and then you have the rounds of interviews. So for LinkedIn specifically, I had 3 interviews and 1 phone call. So I had the initial coding assessment, and then the recruiter reached out on a phone call, talked to me. It was a bit more informal, talked to me about like what I'm doing, like what classes I'm studying in college, like why do I want to go to LinkedIn. And then that went well. So then I went on to another interview, and it was actually 2 interviews. So it was 1 technical and 1 behavioral. So basically a technical is you hop on a call with normally a software engineer at LinkedIn, and then he just asks you a question. You just have to code it up right in front of him. And the other one, behavioral, is more like, why do you want to work at LinkedIn? What makes you a good candidate and stuff like that. And in that interview, it was actually with my manager in my internship. And he also asked me what we call system design questions. So basically, instead of asking you a specific coding question, he would ask you like a more broad scenario of how would you design or how would you code this if you had to do it. You don't actually have to code anything. It's a lot more like open-ended, kind of thing. Yeah, like how would you design some like application or website or something. And then after that, I heard back that they wanted me, and that was for an internship. Yeah.
Rewind a little bit from there, and you mentioned that you had never done coding prior going to college.
Right.
How did you find this love for coding and programming? And then kind of, can you talk to me a little bit about how that manifested at UC Berkeley, and then like what classes you went on to take to really deepen that love?
Right. So I feel like coding is like a love-hate relationship for a lot of people. It's like if it goes well, you love it, but other than that, you hate it. And I think that was like kind of how I went through it, especially in the beginning years. So like I said before, I didn't code at all in high school. And most people that go into Berkeley and CS, I mean, Berkeley is the top CS school. So they all have coded. I mean, all my friends, they've been coding since like middle school. So all them, they already know. So you already start at disadvantage, and it was super hard. I remember my first computer science class, an introductory class at Berkeley, which is like over 2,000 students, something crazy like that. And then I absolutely failed all my exams. I got like a 18 out of 40 and then like a 19 out of 50 points, like my midterms and stuff. It was really bad. It was really bad. But so in that moment, I guess you could say I did not love coding. So I was very much hating coding. I really wanted to quit, but I stuck through it, and I feel like there's a slight learning curve to it. You put in the effort, and then slowly things start to click together. And then that's when when you start to see some progress, you start to see like your code like actually running, actually not having any errors or anything, and that's when your love slowly builds up. And then after a while, it's just enjoying. It's like solving problems, like little riddles all the time. And then once you solve a riddle, you're like, it's like super satisfying. When you're solving it, not so much. I mean, the computer science classes at Berkeley, they're really intense. So we have like 3 introductory classes. Our main introductory class is C61A, which was introductory to computer algorithms. And essentially, it was in Python. So the language was Python. And they basically teach you the very fundamentals of computer science. So like basic, what we call for loops, like these different algorithms, for loops, while loops, just like recursive. We also learned some really whack, I don't know, languages that's only Berkeley uses for some reason. I don't know, they're special like that. But there's a second class I took at Berkeley, and I think it was like the most important class for me in order to secure the internship or a job. And it was computer science 61B. It was data structures. And in that class, you essentially apply what you learned in the previous class into more projects. And the entire class was just projects. It was like we had 4 projects in total. They were a very big one. And then at the end, you have to you started from like a blank screen. Normally you start from like a template or skeleton code is what we call it. You start from a blank screen. You had to design everything yourself. And that was like really where you condense all your first semester knowledge and try to like build an application from yourself. And I think that's what like really helped me understand how programs work and understand how to build them. So that was definitely the most important class at Berkeley.
So then I guess fast forwarding to now at LinkedIn, you mentioned earlier your role as a software engineer.
Right.
Can you kind of give me the hierarchy of what a software, like where do you go from here? What is the software engineer ranking? And then where do you fall within that?
I mean, you start up, I guess not the bottom, there's the interns, right? But once you start in a full-time position, you start as a software engineer. Different companies have different little terms, levels. I know Google has like L3, L4, L5. Amazon has like the same system. But for the most part, we divide that into general software engineer, senior, staff, senior staff, and then you go into distinguished, principal, and then VP, CTO, CEO, whatever. So basically you go from software engineer to senior engineer. It typically takes like, I don't know, a couple of years. From senior to staff is more like 2, 3, 4 years. And then from staff to senior staff is a bit more. And then from there, honestly, most people peak at staff or senior staff. In order to reach the next level, you probably have to do something really impressive. Either something that impacts the company at large. So at LinkedIn, like you develop a really like a massive new feature or maintain a system that really changes LinkedIn, and then you can get into that level. Other than that, something that changes the industry in software engineering in general too can get you into that level. So not many people reach past senior staff engineer.
Could you give me, I guess, like the non-tech version and then like the absolute full I'd love coding version of like what you do on a day-to-day basis? So if you could break it down for us non-technical folks, and then kind of also explain what you do almost a little more precisely.
So in non-technical terms, so LinkedIn is obviously just a bunch of code. So basically you look at this code and you try to identify places where you can improve it. So if there is a bug that like something that doesn't quite work all the time, or someone finds I don't know, you click a button on LinkedIn and you realize, oh, this gives you an error, then you have to go through the code and find out where that happens and kind of fix it. So that's essentially what we do overall. In more, and then we also have meetings and stuff, but in more technical terms, for example, a day in my life, which you've seen a bajillion in my channel.
Check it out if you haven't.
You check it out if you haven't. You have many to choose from. But so you have a lot of meetings with your team. I think computer science is a very team collaborative kind of job. So you have to communicate what you're doing to the rest of the team, because a lot of the stuff that, for example, I'm going to go fix a code or I'm going to implement some feature in some part of the project we're working on. But sometimes this feature is directly connected with a feature that your teammate wants to implement. So you have to make sure that when you do it, it doesn't break their code, or once they do it, you make sure that it's compatible with what we call backwards compatible. And essentially, and then what I do a lot is, one, you review other people's code. So there is no really a big system to, like, if you publish a code, like you write a code, you write it, you submit it. It's not like in class where there is a rubric and there's like a correct and wrong answers. There's no correct and wrong answers. You're just hoping that it works, right? You can write tests to test that functionality, but sometimes the tests are not exhaustive. And then, so you have to rely a lot on your peers to have like another set of eyes to look over them. And so that's a big part of software engineering too. So I spend a lot of time looking at other people's code and correcting theirs as they do to mine. And then a lot of the time I just also, I think, okay, so, and then the last thing that a lot of people might not expect from software engineers is that we read a lot. So not code, just like read regular text. So documentation, how does a program work? What is the design like? Comments, all of like really like English, written English, all of that we read a lot. So yeah, you can't skip out on those reading classes in college or high school.
No, I mean, it sounds like, to use a Haas School of Business idiom here, it sounds like you're really being like a student always, I guess, and almost
student
like
always, yeah.
always refining your processes and constantly getting better at learning the new little nuances of code.
Right. Yeah. I think every day you learn something new, which is honestly cool about the job.
So say I'm a software engineer. After 3 years, my eyes are just completely done with code. I can't do it, but I have all these great technical skills. What's like an adjacent career to a software engineering that I could quote unquote graduate from without staying in the software engineer domain? For example, I work in sales. If I was just like completely done with cold calling, I would go to like customer success. So like once the customer has already been onboarded, I'm just helping them, or even like marketing or something like that.
I mean, software engineering, I guess there's data science too, which is similar to software engineering, but it's more like using real data as opposed to software engineers. It's all like code. A lot of software engineers, once they get tired of being, in our role we call it ICUs. So once they're tired of becoming an IC, they go into being a manager. So a lot of software engineers progress and then they end up managing other software engineers. And it's good that you have technical knowledge, because as a manager, you kind of need to know what your group is doing, and you need a bit of technical knowledge to do that. But in your day-to-day basis, you don't actually dwell into the code. You're more like politics, right? You're like talking to other teams, talking to your employees, making sure everything's good and stuff. So I guess that's kind of a path a lot of software engineers take once they're like get a bit tired of like writing code and stuff.
And then playing off that, what is your dream role? So another way to think about that, I guess, is where do you see yourself in 20 years with the experience that you have now?
That's a very good question, Kyle. I honestly don't think I'm gonna stay as an IC for very long. I think it's maybe not for me. I like managerial position seems interesting, but I think what attracts me the most is probably I can be an IC, but for my own company. I think I definitely want to build my own company, a startup, and manage that myself. I think that would be my dream. So maybe like 20 years, hopefully I have some company going that I can, run, manage, and do my own thing instead of, I guess I don't want to receive orders.
No, I think that's definitely something that's super cool. Like definitely an aspiration of mine. However, like your technical background, you're able to like really build out, I guess, everything that I, as a non-technical person, like never could understand about building a website and a company and the back end code. So definitely something like super helpful to think about. The last side on the business side of things, could you share with me your 3 best tips for someone who's trying to break into this line of work, software engineering?
Yeah. Okay. So 3 best tips. If you're in high school, go to college and study computer science. I think that's the most direct path. If you're in college, but you're not studying computer science, take some computer science classes. But if you're not in college, I think boot camps are increasingly popular now. So just like a 1 month or 2 month boot camp can set you up for like a software engineering job that already pays more than $100,000 a year. 1 or 2 months, grind it out. For interviews, you have to, if all software engineers know, a platform called LeetCode. Basically, all interview questions are there. So you have to solve all of those, if you solve all of them, which you're not gonna solve all of them, but the more you solve, the more prepared you'll be for the interviews. And obviously from college, you're gonna get a lot of projects, but if you don't study computer science in college, try and do like personal projects where you can show that you're learning and you can apply what your knowledge into actual real life products. So do some projects that are cool. Don't do the simple, I don't know, calculator app or something. Like, I don't, recruiters probably seen a billion does. Do something interesting, and to get you like noticed. I think those were, I'm not sure if those were 3, 5, 2 tips. I don't know.
I love it.
Like
Whatever it was, 3, 10, whatever. It was, that
awesome.
was a great juice of knowledge, right? The drop of knowledge.
Yeah.
Marcos, could you talk to me about generally what an entry-level software engineer would make at one of these tech companies, such as a LinkedIn?
For new grads with zero years of experience, they're paying from, you know, 170 to 200, $220,000 a year. You can have startups like Uber or Databricks, they're paying 215, some can even reach 250K a year too. And then if you can become a software engineer at quant companies, which they don't close the salary, but you can be earning 4 or 500,000 with 0 years of experience in software engineering. It's a very lucrative business. Like, even having 0 years of experience, you're gonna earn as a software engineer probably over $100,000 a year. So it's definitely a good place.
Sounds like you made the right decision, I guess. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, also in addition to that, though, there's some like RSUs and stock options.
Yeah.
You know, Microsoft acquired LinkedIn, so you're probably getting paid in Microsoft stock as well.
Right. Exactly. So I think a good conversation to talk about is how software engineering salaries are actually broken down. So it's not just all lump sum money. So essentially, we have what's called base pay. So that's just cash. Let's say you have a base pay of, I don't know, $100,000. So that's $100,000 in cash. That's for you. And then we have something called RSU. So that stands for restricted stock unit. And essentially, the company is saying, okay, here's a certain amount of money that we're not going to give to you all upfront. So we're going to incentivize you to stay at the company and work for the company. In exchange, we'll give you part of this money throughout the years. So for example, if you have $80,000 in RSU over 4 years vested at 25% each year, you have $80,000 divided by 4 given to you each year. So you have each year, you would have, you know, $20,000.
20,000, yeah.
Given in the company's stock. So that incentivizes you, 1, to stay at the company, and 2, to perform well, because if you perform well, I mean, the goal is that the stock goes up so that you earn actually more money. So when a software engineer says their salary is, let's say, 150,000, honestly, that includes base, RSU, sometimes it includes bonus, sometimes it includes like sign-on bonus and all that stuff. But that 150,000 can be a lot or can be a lot less. So if, for example, if you worked at Tesla in 2020, then your salary in 2021 was a lot. If you joined Tesla in 2021 and you say, I'm going to earn $200,000 at Tesla in 2021, now you're probably earning, I don't know, 150 or less.
I had a couple final questions to ask you about content creation. We're both content creators in our free time, and we both, I know, have had our struggles this fall. Like, it was tough to have a full-time job and still continue to create content.
Right.
But rewinding a little bit, we were both swimming at Cal and we started creating content, you a little bit before me. What sparked you to start creating content, and what inspires you today to continue to create? Yeah,
I think the main spark of creating content back then, and honestly today too, is just seeing other people create content. I mean, my first video was a week in the life, because going in, I saw a week in the lives of other people. And now I see a lot of stay in the life software engineers and just other videos that other people post that I really enjoy watching. And I'm like, oh wait, I kind of want to do that too. I kind of want to do that. And I want to recreate that, but in my own way, my own touch, in my own life. So I think the biggest inspiration for me for content creating is just watching other people and seeing how they grow. And I want to grow equally or as much as them.
On that topic of the struggle, how do you manage a full-time job, content creation on the side, while still making time for yourself, I guess?
Right. I mean, software engineering isn't exactly a hard job. I'm kidding. No.
You're exposing yourself here, not me.
It's true. I mean, recently they removed the ping pong table from my building as they cut down floors, and that was probably the biggest debate we've had internally in a long time. So just to show, you know, where the priorities are in software engineering. I'm lucky that software engineering is a job that's very flexible in terms of hours. So if you want to make a video and you're going to stay up late, you don't have to be up in the morning at 7, 8, 9 a.m. the next day. You have flexible to like kind of shift your schedule. So in that sense, you can really, if you want to, you can pursue like your hobbies and kind of try and fit them in, and it doesn't have to like fit exactly because you can always reschedule other stuff.
Not unlike the traditional 9 to 5 then, per
Right,
se.
exactly. Not like you don't have to be at the office. Like I work remotely, I can go whenever I want. If you have also software engineering, it's not like a time-based system, it's a performance-based system. So hey, if you're a really good software engineer and you get all the work done in half the time, then good for you. You have more time to just do your other hobbies. So it's honestly, it kind of does that. So there's going to be days where I work a lot and I don't have time to, for myself or create videos. But then there's going to be other days where perhaps the workload is a bit less and then I have more time and can pump out the videos and do other stuff.
To inspire other creators to continue creating, this is something that I saw when I started first creating, was the Graham Stephan videos of how much he made.
Yeah.
I guess, could you share a little bit about what your biggest brand deal was or what your highest earning video was on your channel so far?
Yeah. My highest earning video is basically just based on views. So I have a video which is a typical morning of college athlete, and that has 1.6 million views. So that video obviously earned a lot. So yeah, so that video I earned over almost $4,000 from that. So that's really good.
Dang.
Obviously, that's just one video, but I mean, it's all of this is just passive income. So I had that video, I posted it last year, and you posted it and you don't think about it. Obviously, it takes work, but it just blows up. It just keeps earning money. And then there's a couple of days where I don't earn that much, but I remember my best day. On one day I earned almost $200 on YouTube. So that just adds up. Obviously, it's not a very reliable source of income because views vary. But I think for people that want to do it and want to do it for the money, and I think that's a very valid reason to do YouTube for the money. I hope that inspires you. It's gonna take a lot of effort, but I think once you get it going, it's really nice just to see the money rolling in while you sleep, while you just didn't do anything, and you start earning. I mean, you start off just by paying off like a couple subway rides. But then soon enough, every day you're paying off on YouTube, like your meal for the day, your lunch, and then that just adds up. So
I remember like my first day of earning AdSense was like $8, and I was like, yeah, that's a sandwich. I can go buy lunch now today.
Right, exactly. It's so rewarding too, because it's like your hard work. Hey, if you want to do it, I say just go for it.
There's going to be plenty of flops in between. Like I woke up this morning, I was like, video I posted this morning, flop. Oh well, maybe the next one will be good. You just got to continue to create. Continue to create and iterate and learn from what your mistakes were. So great advice, man. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Last question I had. What are some of your goals for your channel, and what do you have coming up next on the channel? You gotta tell fans why they got to go subscribe to your channel.
Yeah. Go subscribe just because Kyle said so. In general, I want to up the quality of my videos. In terms of content, I don't know. So it's going to be a mix of lifestyle and technical software engineering content. But in my channel, and I don't want to sound this as like an ad or anything, but you'll just see high quality videos. I put a lot of effort into my videos. I combine skits and just like obviously day in the lives, but definitely trying to increase the quality every single time. But I do have a second channel, and that's more low key. That's more stuff I'm doing in New York City because I moved here recently and there's just so much to do. I created a separate channel just for whatever, just to do random stuff. So that's called 5 Juicy Mangoes. No reason why. Juicy Mangoes was already taken, so the fifth one was the only one available. So yeah, so that's just random. I visited like a $15 million apartment recently. I posted on that channel. So that's just random stuff in New York City. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you can expect. Just good videos.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for sharing with everyone a little bit about software engineering.
Yeah, of course. I would love to be here. Everyone subscribe to Kyle Millis. And subscribe to me too.
A big shout out to Marcos for coming on and sharing his tips to becoming a software engineer. Stay tuned for an upcoming interview where I head inside Google and get tips from a Googler. You won't want to miss it. If you're interested in more career tips, how to break into tech, financial and productivity tips, consider subscribing to the channel. Make sure to go check out Marcos's channel. He shares a bunch more tips on there as well. If you're interested in sharing more about your role on my platform, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram at Kyle_Millis to be featured in an upcoming video. And without further ado, I'll see you guys next time.